to the channel. As promised,
My hair is dry.
isn't it lovely? I cut it some more too because it just felt too long. Yes, I love it. No, I don't regret it.
When I was younger, I used to cut it after it was very long, and I always regretted it, but not anymore.
Enough about me. What are we doing today?
We're making an art doll. Halloween art doll, of course. Gonna be the first art doll that I make.
I think I've made a lot of dolls, but this one I'm going to
Classify as an art doll. So, are you excited? Let's get into it. So the goal for this week was to try to make the doll simple. Ultimately, I'd really like to have just a basic doll that I can design, that can be replicated, and in order to do that, I'm gonna have to, pare it down. I don't do simple very well. I like to go off on any artistic tangent that my brain wants to go on, and it doesn't always turn out great because it's usually things that I've never done before. Right now, I'm just cutting out the pattern so that I can try and have uniform arms and legs. They're all gonna be one piece. I'm not gonna do separate pieces, but I am doing a skeleton inside so that I can still move it, but it's not gonna be ball jointed. It's just gonna be, I don't know, a doll. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with ball jointed stuff, but it doesn't have to be. It can still move. It still moves like exactly the same, only less awkwardly. So here's my body. The fabric to the right is the gorgeous skin tone that I picked and loved to do all of these body pieces in. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough of this fabric to do all of the body pieces, which I didn't really figure out until after I'd already drawn this right in the middle of the fabric. I did have enough space for 2 legs and 1 hand and a torso, or arm and hand. So this piece that's up in the right hand corner here, that's gonna be drawn on top of. That was gonna be the head, but now it's gonna be the hand. And wow, I did do them totally different sizes. How did I not see that before? Hindsight. Anyway, the head had to be made out of like this beige felt because I didn't have any more material. They are pretty close, and it was very serendipitous that I even found this felt that was a close enough match. This head comes out a little oddly shaped. I'm not really sure what I did. I just used the same shape to trace and sew the pieces together, but yet there's this like bulge right here. I know I need to untuck some of that, but it looks weird. Anyway, what am I doing now? I'm putting a bottom piece, a third side to this doll because I want her to be able to sit down. But first, before I sew that on, I need to put in her skeletal frame. It was a little bit tricky. It kept wanting to bend and get out of shape. This wire is very stiff and it doesn't bend very well, but once you bend it, it's pretty much solid like that. There's no unbending it. Let's add some meat on her bones with some stuffing. I was super excited to start stuffing because that meant we were moving forward, not all sewing. Some stuffing progress. The head looks pretty normal shaped once there's stuffing in it. It's gonna end up getting attached to the neck a little awkwardly because I've never done a doll like this before where there's like a neck and you just plunk it on. Where do you even sew it? Onto the body.
You just go straight through the neck.
I was already getting excited seeing that this torso could go back and forth. I could have stopped right here and just had a torso and been completely happy. And now we are contemplating the attachment process. How do we put this on? I'm really happy that the head and the body shades are so close. So this is how you split some embroidery thread. I know I've shown you guys this before, but just in case, you put the back end of the needle through the thread and split it into 2 halves of 3. Just gently pull it. Also, so this threader thing, these little flowers with the gray part, I never knew what they were. That's why I'm showing you guys how to use them. I am now 45 years old, seen these in sewing kits 1,000 times, had no idea what they were for. No idea. So this is how I attached the head. I just tried to sew it on as best I could. I'm sure there's a much better way. It ends up being a little at an angle, which kind of affects the entire rest of the design, but what can you do? Now we're gonna put the skeletons of the legs, make sure that we'll be able to bend these and shape them. I'm not sure what gauge this wire is, but it's very thick. I know there's probably a middle gauge. So right now I have this very solid, hard to bend wire, and then my other option is pipe cleaners. that are very, very soft and do not hold their shapes with any pressure whatsoever. Once I have these skeletons shaped the way I need them, or as close as I can get it, then I can sew up the outsides of the legs and insert them where they belong. Here's my leg. I'm turning it out. I made it a little too small, so I had to turn it out off camera, but now I get to add the skeleton, and this will help me shape the foot without having to add an extra piece. Look at this, just bends over, and now I can put the meat in these legs with the stuffing. And I know that I said that I was gonna keep it simple, but I just had to add one thing, okay? I'm just closing it up right now. But when I saw this leg and how you could bend the toes, oh my God, I was like, I have to put some toes on here because you can bend the toes. They're so cute. Let's make some toes. So we made some toes. Once the toes were finished, I reminded myself we're gonna keep it simple, but I did wanna put 2 little divots underneath the knee to make it look more like a knee. So now we're going to add the legs on. I wanted to put it in the front of this doll so that she can have this space to sit down. I'm really sad that my vampire doll has a hard time sitting down. I think I'm gonna break her legs next time I try it. So here's this soft pipe cleaner that I was gonna use for the hands, and it just kind of folded into a glob inside there. So I had to cut off individual fingers, bones, and then wrap them all together for this hand. But now I can't bend this freaking wire in here to get it to be the bottom part of the arm. So I had to chop that off and then end up using some pipe cleaners anyway, just to make the bottom part of the arm. Skeletal process is complete. Now we're just going to add the meat and the muscle before I close this thing up. It was hard to get all of the foam or the stuffing down into the hands and the fingers. Luckily, the fingers are kind of full of the inside of this material from turning it inside out. Look at these little fingers. You can bend them.
Oh, so cute.
So I had these little gold bands that I got off of this macrame thing that I wasn't going to keep and instead use. And I thought they would look like really cool armbands on here. They're a little bit big, but they fit so well. So she's going to keep them on. I'm sewing these arms on in just one spot to keep them mobile. I want them to be able to twirl around a little bit. And I wasn't sure if this was the way to do it, but look, it's working. So that's how we're gonna do it. Now that she is fully assembled, it's time to work on her face. I really wanted to have a nose that was attached. I know I'm trying to keep it simple. I really wanted to avoid drawing on this kind of fabric. It's too fuzzy for drawing on. So the nose is gonna be a piece of a very squishy bead that is wrapped in the same fabric as her head. I'm not sure how I wanna shape these lips, so I may wait on the lips and instead make some ears. Here's some fabric, and here you go, girl. Some ears for you. I probably should have made them thicker. They're a little thin, but I still think they're cute. All right, now to worry about these lips. It kind of looks like a mustache. And honestly, I really like the beige color. Oh, how did it end up so much longer after this? Look at it, I turned it down more as I started adding the embroidery thread to do the serrated part of the lips.
Oh, there goes her top lip. All the way onto her nose.
Thought about doing some teeth in here like I like to do, but it seemed like it was going to be too busy, and if I use the embroidery thread it might look weird. I might have wanted to do a different color for the top lip and the bottom. I do like the pale though against the skin.
So now it's time to blush the body.
Woo! That is bright.
But she needs some blushing to bring her to life, right? It really helps when you put the blush on your dolls to make them look more lifelike. On the knees, on the elbows, on the toes and the fingertips, on the ears, of course, and maybe just a smidge on the shoulders. All right, so remember the word of the day was simplicity. Well, I am stressing out about these eyes because I'm trying to keep them simple and I'm not really sure how to do it and still make eyes that I like. So I'm gonna procrastinate and put some cute freckles on her blush. I'm gonna give her some body dots. She also has some earrings from some jump hoops. Oh, and what about hair? We need to pick that out before we do some eyes, surely, right? I haven't got to use any of this yet. All right, enough procrastinating. Let's pick a placement. This is gonna be the base of the eyes. I'm trying to keep it simple. Now that we've figured out where we want them to go, we're going to place them with some pins. There you go, there's some eyes, perfect, done. Oh, I should probably tell you if you're squeamish about
Needles going into eyes.
you may not want to watch this part. In order to keep this face glue-free, I'm going to attach these felt bases by adding the pink little part in the corner and then doing lashes for the outside. I will also be using felt for the iris. I'm really leaning on embroidery to keep this face quote-unquote simple. I mean, the lashes are not very complicated, and they don't look the best for that reason, but they're gonna do, and they're gonna have two purposes, as lashes and keeping the eyes on the face. Now we need to do the brows, and that should be pretty easy. This is probably how they do it in the salon too, right? They just stick a needle through with some embroidery thread and they give you some eyebrows.
Nice and thick, fluffy ones.
Last touch to bring these eyes alive is adding some eye shinies with a little white embroidery thread. I'm very happy with how these eyes turned out. The mouth, on the other hand, I don't love. I think I might have made it a little
Bit too frowny.
but the eyes are shiny. Whew! The anxiety of making the faces behind me. Now let's move on to hair. This hair is very special. I ordered it online. It's super slippery. I'm going to try and sew the top part that holds this piece together right onto the head. That's why I made these guidelines to try and keep it straight. I found out pretty quickly that this is one of those things that you have to really want to put some time into because it can look really thin if you don't put all of the hair on. I also wasn't sure how to do the part. I tried to do it the way I normally do wefts, where you put it the wrong way and then you fold it over, but this is very stiff hair. And I figured since it's kind of made out of plastic, I could just iron it and keep it down, and that kind of works. The problem is there are pieces that just keep opening up so that you can see the bald patches inside of her hair. Once I am finally done making this part right, it will be time to start decorating this doll, which I have been dying to do. This is why I was trying to keep it super simple so that I wouldn't be too tired to do the actual clothes. And she's also gonna have a mask. She's going to a fancy Halloween party. I love the red hair and brown eyes. All right, it's actual art time. I'm gonna make this mask the only way I know how, by suffocating this doll and using some masking tape.
Masking tape sounds like mask.
To make the shape of her head. Once we have the general shape, we can take it off of her face and cut out some holes for her eyes. After the eyes have been cut, I will use cardboard and mostly add a frame shape the outside indentions of the eyes to make them creepy, and also the little ears so that you know that it's a cat, even though, you know, I wanted this to be a skeleton and cat skeletons do not have ears. It ended up not being a skeleton after all, but it's still creepy. To make this mask solid, I of course have to paper mache this teeny tiny thing. So let's get started with that. This plastic bag is what the long red hair came in, and it really helped me keep this area clean with all the wet paper mache. So it is almost time for this girl to go, and she literally has nothing to wear. So let's whip her up a cute costume. I'm gonna do this tulle for the undershirt, and I'm gonna use this fabric that I got from the dollar store just to line it on the neck and on the bottom. I was gonna do the arms, but it was kind of too constricting, and I like the way the tulle flares out in the end. Right, the neck and the bottom are lined. I'm going to fit this on her now so that I can add a jumper on top, and then we will also make shoes. I have an idea for the jumper. It's gonna be time consuming, of course, but the whole point was to make the doll easy so that I could put all of my effort into the clothing and the accessories. She She looks so comfortable in this oversized shirt, but it might be a little bit breezy, so maybe I should add some underoos. I whipped these up pretty quickly out of just white felt, so they're gonna be super soft, and you're not gonna see them underneath everything, but I'll know they're there. And I could be imagining it, but it kind of looks like she's happier with her underwear on, right? From unsymmetrical concept to material, we have made this jumper. It's kind of like a overall pattern, and it's made out of linen, and on the inside is some felt because I'm going to need that for what I'm going to attach to the front of this. And the back is also a little bit felt because I need to be able to secure the straps in the back. The raw edges of this material were a little bit frayy, so I decided to do this kind of, I don't even know what this stitch is called. I should probably look it up. It's like a blanket stitch, I guess, but it just kind of holds the end of the material in place. Once the bib of this jumper is hemmed, I will be able to turn it out, and then I can add the pattern to the front and top part. So my idea was to take this rope to create texture on the top of this bibbed jumper by just pinning it in place and then using a real blanket stitch to attach it with ribbon onto the front of this piece. Before we do that though, I need to put the actual straps on, and these rope pieces that I'm using for straps were fraying like crazy, so I'm going to use fire to fray check them by melting these artificial fabrics. Time to put 1,000 years into creating this pattern on the front of this jumper. It did take some time. The ribbon was a little bit finicky. I had to try and keep it flat so it didn't roll. It didn't always work, but I think the end result was worth it. I think this actually ends up really cool looking when it's done. We are coming to the end of our journey. So now we're making the shoes. I wanted to do a pop of color since everything else is white, and we're gonna keep the mask white. So let's get these bad boys on her. I think I would wear some shoes like this. I love this color. It's so bright and neon-y. Doesn't it work well with this, you guys, don't you think? If not, let me know. Oh, I also hemmed the bottom of this, even though I was scared too, because it looked a little too raw on the bottom of the legs. No, I'm not gonna tie the shoes. I like to leave the laces untied. Remember how I said that rope was coming frayed a lot? Well, I found a little tuft of it that I cut off before I realized that it was just gonna keep fraying, and it looked so cute on the mask. So I decided to use this leftover piece to create a furry texture for the mask. I also used some peachy felt to do the inside of the ears. I just used a regular push pin to blur the line on the edge of the felt so it kind of blended into the ears better. And now I'm just gonna use some of these soft pastels for color. At long last, she is assembled and completed and spooky in her little mask. If this were Halloween of 2026, I might have enough dolls for her to have an actual party. But she is the only one. Yes, I've done other dolls, but they are too fragile to come to a party. She's the only one that can have a mask on, can sit, can move, can bend. I'm really happy with how she turned out. I like these colors. I like the shoes. I like the skin tone. It's probably my favorite one that I've ever used so far. It makes me happy to see this and be happy that it's done and that I like it. There were many times when I was like, I don't know if I like this. I'm spending all this time, but I don't know if I like this doll. Of course, she has so many imperfections. That's all right. Those were learning opportunities and mistakes that I hopefully will not repeat again. I actually can't wait until Halloween of next year because she's going to go to a party with all of her doll friends. all of the art dolls will have a costume and it'll be fantastic. Kind of wondering if I should make all of the other art dolls costumes animal themed. Would that be cute or would that be too much? I mean, that's a year from now. There might be something else that I'm completely obsessed with by then, and that could be what I'm totally concentrating on. You never know. I just realized I didn't even show you guys the back of this outfit. How the straps connect to the back piece, and I put so much time and effort. You can almost kind of see how it works, but the doll stand is kind of in the way. Let's see if I can get a better angle here. For some reason, I feel like this doll is giving Julianne Moore in the new show Sirens. Maybe it's just the red hair. I'm not really sure. Julianne Moore doesn't have olive skin like this, but I did name this doll. It had a name before it even got made, and it definitely got made into its name. Her name is Oslo. It just came to me as I was making her. I have no idea where it came from, but it sticks. That's her name, Oslo. Let's take a couple pictures inside so you can see the color difference. Here she is doing the splits. She's so poseable. And her yoga pose. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's a shout out to Stephanie and Donna. Thank you so much for always commenting. You guys are the best. And I'll see you next week. Bye.